गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदनंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत्र सतर्षि श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस ऐसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य श्रोत्र सतर्षि श्रीमती डिवाइन ग्रेस शील भक्ति सिद्धांत आज की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसद गौर भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की श्री श्री गौर की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की निताय गो प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 19, Text number 31. Maitreya Uvacha Evam Hiranyaksha Achahya Vikramam Evam Hiranyaksha Achahya Vikramam एवं हिरण्याक्षमसह्य विक्रमाम् स साधयित्वा हरेर् आदि सूकरः स साधयित्वा हरिरादिसूकरः स साधयित्वा हरिरादिसूकरः जगाम लोकां स्वाम् अखण्डित उत्सवम् जगामलोकं स्वम् अखण्डितोत्सवम् जगामलोकं स्वमखण्डितोत्सवम् समीडितः पुष्कर विष्टरादिभिः समीडितः पुष्कर विष्टरादिभिः समीडितः पुष्कर विष्टरादिभिः मैत्रेय उवाच एवं हिरण्याक्षम् असह्य विक्रमाम् ससादयित्वा हरिरादिसूकरः जगामलोकं स्वमखण्डितोत्सवम् समेडितः पुष्कर विष्टरादिभिः मैत्रेय उवाच एवं हिरण्याक्षमसह्य विक्रमाम् ससादयित्वा हरिरादिसूकरः जगामलोकं स्वमखण्डितोत्सवम् समेडितः पुष्कर विष्टरादिभिः मैत्रेय उवाच Sri Maitreya said, Evam, thus, Hiranyaksha, Asahya Vikramam, very powerful, Saha, the Lord, Sadayitva, after killing, Harihi, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Adisukaraha, the origin of the boar species, Jagama, returned, Lokam, to his abode, Swam, own, Akhandita, uninterrupted, Utsavam, festival, Samiditaha, being praised, Pushkara Vishtara, lotus seat, by Lord Brahma, whose seat is a lotus, Adibihi, and the others. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Sri Maitreya continued, after thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hari the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods, headed by Brahma. Kindly repeat. Sri Maitreya continued. After thus killing the most formidable demon Hiranyaksha, the Supreme Lord Hare, the origin of the boar species, returned to his own abode, where there is always an uninterrupted festival. The Lord was praised by all the demigods, headed by Brahma. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord is spoken of herewith as the origin of the boar species. As stated in the Vedanta Sutra, the absolute truth is the origin of everything. Therefore, it is to be understood that all 8,400,000 species of bodily forms originate from the Lord, who is always Adi, or the beginning. In Bhagavad-gita, Arjuna addresses the Lord as Adyam, or the original. Similarly, in the Brahma Samhita, the Lord is addressed as Adi Purusham, the original person. Indeed, in Bhagavad-gita, the Lord himself declares, Mattaha sarvam pravartate. From me, everything proceeds. In this situation, the Lord assumed the shape of a boar to kill the demon Hiranyaksha and pick up the earth from the Garbha ocean. Thus, he became Adi Sukara, the original boar. In the material world, a boar or pig is considered most abominable. But the Adi Sukara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was not treated as an ordinary boar. Even Lord Brahma and the other demigods praised the Lord's form as a boar. This verse confirms the statement in Bhagavad-gita that the Lord appears as he is from his transcendental abode for the sake of killing the miscreants and saving the devotees. By killing the demon Hiranyaksha, he fulfilled his promise to kill the demons and always protect the demigods headed by Brahma. The statement that the Lord returned to his own abode indicates that he has his own particular transcendental residence. Since he is full of all energies, he is all-pervasive in spite of his residing in Goloka Vrindavan, just as the sun, although situated in a particular place within the universe, is present by its sunshine throughout the universe. Although the Lord has his particular abode in which to reside, he is all-pervasive. The impersonalists accept one aspect of the Lord's features, the all-pervasive aspect, but they cannot understand his localized situation in his transcendental abode, where he always engages in full transcendental pastimes. Especially mentioned in this verse is the word Akhanditotsavam. Utsava means pleasure. Whenever some function takes place to express happiness, it is called Utsava. Utsava, the expression of complete happiness, is always present in the Vaikuntha Lokas, the abode of the Lord, who is worshipable even by demigods like Brahma, to say nothing of other less important entities, such as human beings. The Lord descends from his abode to this world, and therefore he is called Avatara, which means one who descends. Sometimes Avatara is understood to refer to an incarnation who assumes a material form of flesh and bone, but actually Avatara refers to one who descends from higher regions. The Lord's abode is situated far above this material sky, and he descends from that higher position. Thus he is called Avatara. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purport. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti-Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam bangum langhayate girim Yat kripatamaham vande Sri Gurum Deenataranam. Saha Adisukaraha Harihi. That Adisukara, the first boar incarnation, who is Hari himself. Saha Adisukaraha Harihi Evam Asahya Vikramam Hiranyaksham Sadayitva Swam Lokam Jagama. That Adisukara, the original boar, who is Hari himself, Evam Asahya Vikramam Hiranyaksham, that most formidable demon, Hiranyaksha, who was undefeated till that point of time, Sadayitva, having vanquished him, Adisukara, having vanquished that formidable demon Hiranyaksha, Swam Lokam Jagama, he went back to his own abode. And that abode of Hari is distinguished from this world by the word Akhanditotsavam, meaning that abode of Hari, Vishnu or Krishna is Akhanditotsavam. It is a place of constant festival. While Pushkara Vishparadibihi Sameditaha, while he was being praised by Lord Brahma and the other Devatas. Prabhupada is giving a wonderful definition to the word Utsava. Very nicely Prabhupada is explaining. Utsava means pleasure. And whenever we want to express our happiness or pleasure upon certain occurrence, what do? We hold a festival. We are very happy. Today is my birthday. So we have a birthday party, we have a festival. Why? Because I am happy. Today was the day I was born. Today is the day of the marriage anniversary. So another party for that. Expression of happiness acquires the form of an utsava or a festival. Whenever some function takes place to express happiness, it is called utsava. And Prabhupada says utsava, the expression of complete happiness, is always present in Vaikuntha lokas. And therefore, Hari's abode, Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan, is called Akhanditotsavam, a place where there is constant festival. Or, in other words, it is a place of constant happiness. There is no distress in the spiritual world, unlike this material world, which Krishna says, it is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. This material world is not a place of Akhanditotsava. Utsava in this world also is going on somewhere or the other. Somewhere somebody is having Diwali, somewhere else somebody is having Holi, somewhere somebody is having Valentine's Day, somebody is holding Mother's Day, Father's Day. All over the world, somewhere some festival is going on. But then, we cannot say that everywhere in this world, at all times, all the 365 days a year, everywhere, all over this planet, it is festival after festival. No. One festival we conduct, we become finished, all our energy is gone. Next 3 days we'll be out. And then slowly we'll get up, and then we'll come, slowly one after another, things will start. Too much overeating during festival, indigestion, we have to go to the doctor, take some medicine. All these kind of problems will come. This material, why this material world is Dukkhalayam Asashvatam. This material world is not a place of Akhanditotsava. Although we try to hold utsavas here. Why? Because we want to forget our miseries. Therefore we hold utsavas. But then reality is this material world is a world of miseries. Dukkhalayam and Ashashvatam. It is temporary. The real place of happiness is
the spiritual world, Vaikuntha Lokas, Goloka Vrindavan, where it is Akhanditotsava. It's a constant festival. Means everyone is exulting all the time. Every day is exhilarating. Every day is a day of enjoyment and happiness. Every day people are expressing happiness in the spiritual world. There nobody is growing old. Nobody is becoming diseased. Nobody is dying. Nobody is undergoing the threefold miseries of material nature. Everybody is, on the other hand, enjoying unlimited happiness. What is this Akhanditotsava in the spiritual world? That is described by Sukadeva Goswami in the Srimad-Bhagavatam itself. In the Srimad-Bhagavatam, actually, the first and the second cantos of the Srimad-Bhagavatam are compared to the lotus feet of Krishna. And as we go forward in the cantos, third canto, fourth canto, actually we are progressing towards the lotus face of Krishna. And the 10th canto is compared to the smiling lotus face of Krishna. In the 9th canto of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, if you see, there is a lot of description of the different lineages, of the different dynasties of kings in the olden times. Sukadeva Goswami describes the various dynasties, and he comes to the Yadu dynasty, and then he keeps tracing one king after the other, one king after the other, one king after the other. Finally, towards the end of the 9th canto, the 9th canto has 24 chapters. Towards the end of the 24th chapter, Sukadeva Goswami comes to the point of Vasudeva. And then comes Krishna. Towards the end of the 24th chapter, Sukadeva Goswami describes the appearance that in this lineage, as the son of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna personally appeared. And then, the 10th canto onwards, it is totally description about Lord Krishna and his pastimes. So, in the end of the 24th chapter, that is the end of the 9th canto, Sukadeva Goswami gives a brief description of the beauty of Krishna and the kind of pleasure that the Brajavasis are enjoying. In the third last verse of the 9th canto, end of 9th canto, practically that's the end of the 9th canto, Sukadeva Goswami says, Yasyananam Makarakundala Charukarna Brajat Kapola Subhagam Savilasahasam Nityotsavam Tatrupur Drisibhi Pibantyo Naryo Narasya Muditaha Kupita Nimesha. He is describing, Sukadeva Goswami is describing Krishna's lotus face. Krishna's lotus face, he says that Krishna's lotus face is Yasya Ananam, whose lotus face, Anana means face. Yasya Ananam Makara Kundala Charu Karna, his lotus face is adorned with beautiful ears on which are decorated with earrings which are like sharks. They are shark-shaped earrings. Makara. Makara means shark. Makara Kundala Charu Karna, his beautiful ears, they are adorned with Makara Kundala, shark-like earrings. And Brajat Kapola, his two cheeks, they are brilliantly shining. They are very smooth and shining. Brajat Kapola Subhagam Savilasahasam, and Krishna's face is decorated with a beautiful smile. Savilasahasam. And this lotus face of Krishna, with his beautiful ears decorated with earrings shaped like sharks, and with a beautiful smile on his face, and with two cheeks which are brilliantly shining, this is Nityotsavam. This is a constant festival for the Brajavasis who are always seeing Krishna in front of them. And Nityotsavam, In this world, if every day we are having Diwali, what will happen? After 3 days, after 4 days, we'll get fed up. We'll say, enough, some other festival let us play. Isn't it? But in this, in the spiritual world, Nityotsavam, every day they are having the same festival. What is the everyday festival in the spiritual world? Looking upon, gazing upon the smiling lotus face of Krishna. Every day is the same festival. But na tatrupur, even though it's the same festival of gazing upon the lotus face of the Lord, na tatrupur vrishimihi pibantyo. The Brajavasis, the Gopas and the Gopis, Naryo Narasya, the Gopas and the Gopis, vrishimihi pibantyo, they were every day with their eyes, they were drinking the beauty of Krishna's lotus face. But still, na tatrupur, they never got satiated. They never got fed up. They never felt, oh, enough of this. Something else beautiful we should see. No. Every day they were seeing Krishna's beautiful lotus face, but they never got satiated. Every day they wanted to drink more and more of Krishna's beauty through their eyes. And on the other hand, instead of becoming fed up with seeing the same lotus face of Krishna every day, on the other hand, what the gopis started saying, that muditaha kupita nimeshta, although they became happy when they were seeing Krishna's lotus face, kupita, they became angry. Why? Because nimeshta, when they were gazing upon Krishna's lotus face, their eyelids would start blinking. And when their eyelids would blink, momentarily, for a fraction of a second, their vision of Krishna's lotus face would get cut off. And they would start cursing the Creator, saying, what kind of Creator is this? He has given us only 2 eyes to see Krishna, and those eyes also has made it blinking, so that every once in a while our vision of Krishna's lotus face gets cut off. In this way, the gopis were feeling dissatisfied that we are not able to see Krishna constantly with our eyes. They not only were they not satisfied with simply seeing Krishna's lotus face every day, they were not satisfied because their eyes were still blinking and cutting off their vision of Krishna even for a fraction of a second. That is why it is Nityotsavam in the spiritual world. Every day is a matter of great joy in the spiritual world to gaze upon Krishna's lotus face. Why gazing upon Krishna's lotus face is such a festival? The gopis describe, Sakhi he, Krishna Mukha Vrajaraja Raja. One gopi is telling another gopi, oh Sakhi, Krishna Mukha Vrajaraja Raja. Vrajaraja means the moon. The moon is called Vrajaraja. Sakhi he, Krishna's Mukha, Krishna's lotus face, is Vrajaraja Raja, is the king of moons. Krishna's face is the king of moons. Why is it the king of moons? Because Krishna Vapu Simhasane, Krishna's body is a Simhasana, it is a throne. Krishna Vapu Simhasane, Vasi Rajya Shasane, Parasange Chandrera Sangama. Krishna's moonlight face, he is sitting on the throne of Krishna's body and governing and doing Rajyabharat. He is ruling over a society of moons. What is the society of moons? The society of moons is described, the Duiganda Suchikkana, Krishna's 2 cheeks, they are Suchikkana, they are very shiny, very smooth. Duiganda Suchikkana, and these cheeks of Krishna, 2 cheeks of Krishna, they are Jinimani Sudarpana, they are shining like brilliant jewels. Just like if you take a very polished diamonds, they will glitter like anything. Sometimes we offer a dress to Krishna Balaram, we put stones in that. There are varieties of stones we can put. We get normal plastic stones also, very cheap stones. Some glittering will be there in that. Little more expensive, if you put Swarovski stones, then they will shine very nicely. They will glitter very nicely. And if you put real diamond, that will glitter like anything. Krishna's two cheeks are like original valuable gems which are glittering, very shining very brilliantly. Jinimani Sudarpana. Sevi Chandra, Purna Chandram Jani. So those two cheeks of Krishna are like two full moons. Lalate Ashtami Bindu, Krishna's forehead is like a half moon, Ashtami Indu, like the Chandra of Ashtami. In the moon, what happens is over a fortnight, the moon's size starts reducing. On an Ashtami, the moon is practically around half its size. Therefore, the gopis are saying Krishna's forehead is like an Ashtami Indu. It is like a half moon. And on Krishna's lotus forehead, on its moon-like forehead, what is there? There is Tahate Chandana Bindu. There is one spot of Chandan which is there on Krishna's moon-like forehead. Say Ekapurna Chandramani, and that spot of Chandan on Krishna's forehead is like another full moon. And so, Krishna's two cheeks are like two full moons, his forehead is like a half moon, and the spot of Chandan on his forehead, the spot of sandalwood paste on his forehead is another full moon. And then Krishna's hands, Krishna's fingers are decorated with nails, and each fingernail of Krishna is like another full moon. And when Krishna plays on his flute, it looks like all the moons of Krishna's fingernails, they are dancing on the flute. And their singing is the melody that comes out of the flute. And Krishna's toenails are another set of full moons. And when Krishna walks, they start dancing. The full moons of Krishna's lotus toenails, they start dancing. And the song of the moons on Krishna's toenails, which are dancing, is the sound of the tinkling of his ankle bells. And like this, Krishna's whole body, you can compare it to many such full moons. In the middle of that, what is happening is his eyebrows are like two bows, and his eyes are like two arrows. And when Krishna smiles and his eyes touch his ears, then what happens is the arrows of Krishna's eyes, they pierce the heart of the gopis. And the gopis, they cannot survive those arrows. And then the gopis say that anyone who has accumulated heaps and heaps of punya by rendering devotional service to Krishna, and by doing such lot of devotional service, and he accumulates heaps and heaps of sukriti, such a person may get the great fortune of seeing the lotus face of Krishna directly. And anyone who gets the great fortune of gazing upon the moon-like face of Krishna, he will feel that his two eyes are not enough to see the beauty of Krishna's moon-like face. And every person who gets the fortune of looking directly at the lotus face of Krishna, he feels that the Creator, the person who created this human body, the Creator is very dry. He does not know how to put what to put properly. With two eyes, what can you see about Krishna? How much of Krishna's beauty can you relish with just two eyes? The Creator should have given 1,000,000 eyes through which to see Krishna. And he has given only two eyes. On top of that, he has put eyelids also, which keep blinking. In this way, the gopis feel great dissatisfaction in not being able to constantly see Krishna's moon-like face. Therefore, Krishna's lotus face is the king of the moons on Krishna's body. And that is why gazing upon Krishna's moon-like face is a real festival, is the real Utsava. It gives so much immense transcendental pleasure that every other pleasure fades to insignificance. Material pleasure can never match the pleasure derived out of seeing Krishna's moon-like face. Not even Brahmananda can measure to the pleasure of seeing Krishna's moon-like face. And therefore, in the spiritual world, in the Vaikunthas and in Goloka Vrindavan, where every day the pure devotees of Krishna get to see the moon-like face of Krishna constantly, it is a constant festival there. It is a Nityotsava, it is an Akanditotsava. Without breakage or without interruption, it is a constant festival in the spiritual world. You can imagine the kind of happiness that a person can derive by being in the spiritual world and gazing upon Krishna's moon-like face every day. It is such an intoxicating thing. That is why a devotee never desires to enjoy any other kind of pleasure. For him, he is not interested in any other pleasure. All other pleasures, they become tutsha, they become insignificant for a pure devotee of Krishna. Why? Because constantly in his heart he is seeing the moon-like face of Krishna. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas tadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yam shama sundaram achintya gunaswarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That Swarupa of Krishna is achintya. It is inconceivable. You cannot compare it, Krishna's beauty, with any other beautiful object in this material world. No amount of beauty in this material world can compare to the beauty of Krishna's moon-like face. And that is why it is called, that is why it is referred to as Achintya Gunaswarupam. Krishna's qualities and Krishna's Swarupa are of inconceivable beauty. And therefore, a devotee, pure devotee, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, with his eyes anointed with pure love for Krishna, he is constantly seeing Krishna within his heart. Santat Tadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. And therefore, for a pure devotee, he is not attracted by any kind of material pleasure. In other words, if you have to become detached from this material world, if you have to become renounced, truly renounced, completely renounced, and completely detached from the pleasures and pains of this material world, then the only way is to become attached to seeing the moon-like face of Krishna. And once one is attracted by the moon-like face of Krishna, then he can never again be attracted to any other pleasure, even up to the point of Brahmananda. Therefore, a pure devotee never desires to merge into Brahman. Why? Because if one merges into Brahman, there is no question of seeing the lotus face of Krishna. Then what is the point of existing? A devotee, he exists only to gaze upon Krishna's moon-like face. That pleasure, when it is available, why should one negate one's existence and one's power of sight and merge into Brahman? Then if a person merges, if one finishes one's existence, then what is the use of the power of sight? The power of sight is to be used in seeing the beauty of Krishna. That is why Rukmini Devi also said that Drisham Drishimatam Akhilartha Labham. Seeing the beauty of Krishna, Krishna was described by Rukmini Devi as Bhuvana Sundara, is the most beautiful personality. And Drishim Drishimatam, of one who has the power of sight, Drishimatam, Drishim Akhilartha Labham, the ultimate benefit, the ultimate greatest result you can get by seeing, if you are endowed with the power of sight, is to see the beauty of Krishna. If one has not seen the beauty of Krishna, what is the point of having eyes? What is the point of having the power of vision? Therefore, a devotee is always attracted by the beauty and the qualities of Krishna, and therefore he is always enjoying such a great ecstasy in his heart that every day is a festival for him. And therefore, a devotee is never interested in Brahmananda, he is not interested in any material pleasure. And therefore, it is Akanditotsava. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Prabhupada have given us that opportunity to participate in that Akhanditotsava in the spiritual world simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Little bit of austerity we have to take in this life. Getting up early in the morning for Mangalarti, chanting 16 malas, attending a little bit of sadhana, reading a little bit of Bhagavatam, little bit of austerity we have to take, and then at the end of this life, we can be assured, if we stick to the principles, whatever the instructions of Prabhupada, then at the end of this life, we will be looking forward to a life of Nityotsava. Yasyananam Makara Kundala Charu Karna Brajat Kapola Subhagam Savilasahasam Nityotsavam. That Nityotsava of gazing upon Krishna's moon-like face is awaiting us. And Krishna also wants that we go to the spiritual world and participate in his Nityotsava. So we have to seriously follow Prabhupada's instructions, read Bhagavatam every day, and without fail, we can also become participants of that Nityotsava. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Varahadeva, after killing Hiranyaksha demon, he went back, returned to his own abode.
Yes.
So my doubt is the Lord forms are eternal.
Yes.
So whether the Lord having the same form or for the sake of pastime, the form got manifested.
Actually, when the Lord incarnates, when the Lord takes avatara, there are different kinds of avataras. There are Gunavataras, there are Yugavataras, there are Leela avataras. There are different kinds of avatars. Now, when it comes to Varahadev and Narsimhadev, they are Leela avatars. They incarnate to carry out a specific Leela, specific pastime. They are not eternal forms in the spiritual world. Therefore, they are manifesting their Leelas somewhere or the other in the material manifestation. In this universe, Varahadev's pastime might have got over. But then in some other universe, Varahadev's pastime is going on. And in this way, constantly, Varahadev is always carrying out his Leelas. And therefore, in one sense, he is always in this material world. In another sense, the Lord, once when his avatara is over, the Lord disappears and Vishnu again goes back to the Vaikuntha and stays there in his original Narayana form. That's how we have to understand. The Lord manifests the form of Varaha for a specific pastime, and after that he goes back in his original form to the four-handed Narayana form to Vaikuntha. That's how we understand. Is that okay? Any other point?
Hare Krishna. Here you mentioned Adi Varaha.
Adi Sukara. Yes.
Adi Sukara. So, but we heard of progeny starting from Prajapatis, the different species. So, Adi Sukara is Prajapati, like the boar species came from Varahadeva or another Prajapati?
The point is that first time the form of the boar was manifested by Varahadev, and therefore he is called Adi Sukara, one sense. Another sense, as Prabhupada explains in the purport also, the Lord is the source of every form within this material world, even though secondarily it may come from the Prajapatis and Lord Brahma. Originally, all the forms are conceived of by the Supreme Lord, Krishna himself. If Krishna is not conceived of a form, nobody can create it. Because Krishna has created the form of the boar, therefore Brahmaji and the Prajapatis can create a boar. Otherwise they cannot create. That's how we have to understand. And therefore he is Adi Sukara in that sense. Another sense is that Sukara Varaha is the Adi of everything else. As Prabhupada mentioned the purport, Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate. Everything is emanating from me, Krishna says. And that personality, Krishna, from whom everything else is emanating, he is the Adi Purusha. From him only the boar also has come. Boar incarnation has also come. So therefore, being the Adi Purusha, he is Adi Sukara. That is how we have to understand. Okay? Yes, please.
There are many incarnations like Narasimha, Vamana, all that incarnations. So when Lord incarnate, that means that is the eternal form in the Vaikuntha, or he changed to Vishnu? Fine, 400 film. Or better.
Yeah, as I mentioned, all the forms of the avatars are eternal. Now, some of the avatars are Leela avatars, meaning they take that form for a specific pastime, to manifest a specific pastime. After the pastime is over, that form is wound up. That means, in this material world, between the Lord and his devotees, when there is some pastime going on, the Lord manifests that particular form. And therefore, the forms of Narasimhadev and Varahadev, they are manifest in this material world for that specific pastime. They may not have a planet in the spiritual world where Varahadev is personally residing, where Narasimhadev is personally residing. That may not be there. On the other hand, it is not temporary also because, like I mentioned, in some universe or the other, one pastime of Varahadev is going on, another pastime of Narasimhadev is also going on. Therefore, they are eternal forms. It's not that the form is manifested at one point of time and then disappeared. No. For our reason, in this universe, that Varahadev's form is no more visible to our eyes. But in some other planet, in some other universe, Varahadev is carrying out his Leela. And therefore, they are eternal. The forms of the Lord are eternal. But then in the spiritual world, the spiritual world, the forms of the Supreme Lord are either in the form of Narayana or in the form of Krishna. That is how we understand. Is that okay? So we'll stop here. ग्रंथराज Srimad-Bhagavatam की जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल.